In 1980, Queen released a song that didn't sound like Queen at all. No guitar solos, no big layered vocals, just a pulsing bass line, and a strange character named Steve. The band wasn't even sure it should be a single. But one person, someone not even in Queen, changed everything.
Along in a way, I was a bit of an outsider at first. And it did take me quite a few years to sort of grow more into the group, and find myself at home, really.
This is the story of Another One Bites the Dust, the unlikely hit born from a quiet band member and a bold move backstage.
Only a spare time thing, even with Queen, I really didn't expect it to take off, really.
John Deacon wasn't the loud one in Queen. He wasn't flamboyant like Freddie, or wild like Roger, or a showman like Brian. He was quiet, reserved, shy even. He joined Queen in 1971 and said it took him years to feel like he truly fit in. He kept a backup plan too, a degree in electronic engineering in case the music thing didn't work out. Even as Queen found success, John stayed in the background. But behind that quiet personality, he was becoming a brilliant songwriter.
John Deacon and I were hanging out together, like partying the night before I did Good Times.
He wrote some of the band's most beloved tracks. You're My Best Friend.
Spread your wings.
I Want to Break Free. Spread Your Wings. And in 1979, he came up with something completely different. John had been spending time at the studio with the band Chic, the group behind Good Times. He was fascinated by the groove, the funk, the space in the music. So he asked, what if Queen made a funk song?
I started it off in England, actually. We had some time off, and I'd always wanted to do something a little bit more that was more sort of disco-y, really, which was very uncool at the time. It wasn't the sort of thing.
At first, the lyrics were kind of silly. He started with a cowboy-themed story, Western-inspired phrases.
But luckily, in a way, it came out quite heavily. But I started it off with actually a completely different set of lyrics. It was all about cowboys, which is why the American phrase "Another One Bites the Dust" came in, really. But then I thought that was very silly. I never even got to show that to the band. I decided to change it before then. So I changed the lyrics altogether.
That's where Another One Bites the Dust came from, an old cowboy line. But once the bass line came together, dark, funky, heavy, the silly lyrics didn't match.
To bite the dust is a cowboy phrase, and that's all I had at first, just the line.
So John scrapped them and rewrote everything. This time it wasn't a joke. The final lyrics were colder, rougher. A breakup, a fight.
And when we went in the studio, I had a set of lyrics I've never ever seen. I've never showed them to anybody. I was so embarrassed about them in the end. They were all about cowboys, and like just a little story. Like at the end of each verse, another one bit the dust. But when we recorded it in Munich,
no one's quite sure. The name Steve shows up, but no one knows who Steve is. Even Roger Taylor said, "We didn't really get it." But they felt it. The groove was undeniable. John didn't just write the song, he shaped it.
We did the backing track, and it sort of came out, it was a bit heavier, really, whereas the cowboy thing was like a little bit more light-hearted and humorous. So I decided to change the lyrics.
He used a different bass than usual, a Music Man Stingray, the same one Bernard Edwards used in Good Times. It gave the bass line a tighter, punchier sound. He told Roger Taylor to tape down the drums to make them sound more dead. Something Roger hated. They even looped the drums, which was unheard of in rock.
Tape all over his drums, which is exactly what Roger hated. Roger hated his drums being made to sound dead.
In fact, we used a drum loop, for the thing, because it was just so simple, and that's all I wanted all the way through, something just solid, really. And that was the way of doing it, because it wasn't the sort of music everybody, we played at all, really. And I think the band was as surprised as I was that it became so successful, I mean, especially in America.
And then came Freddie. Most singers avoid copying the rhythm of the bass, but not Freddie. He locked into it, singing in time with the groove, and it gave the song this hypnotic, mechanical feel.
And another one gone, and another one gone, another one bites the dust. Yeah.
Freddie pushed himself hard. Some say he sang until his voice bled.
Sang it until he bled, because he was so committed to making it sound the way John wanted it, which was like hardcore, I don't know what you would call it, but it's kind of more towards black music than white music.
That's how much he believed in getting it right. And here's the fun part. Two of the most iconic moments in the song were actually mistakes. First, during the breakdown, producer Reinhold Mack was experimenting with a digital effects machine. He tried to mute a track but hit the wrong button. It made this weird, warped noise. They kept it. Second, at the very end, there's a random hi-hat hit. John forgot to mute it. He noticed afterward and told the producer,
I didn't really want to get into dance music. It wasn't my thing.
It's not perfect, but it stayed in the final version. A perfect hit with a couple perfect flaws. Still, the band wasn't sure it would be a hit. Roger didn't like it. Even John wasn't totally confident. They debated whether to even release it. Then came the turning point. After a show in Los Angeles, Michael Jackson came backstage.
Playing in the Forum, I think, in Los Angeles, and Michael Jackson used to kind of sit in the corner and go like that. And he said, you guys have got to release this. We actually said, you guys, you got to release it. So I said, no, you're mad, that won't be a hit.
He'd been sitting in the corner watching the whole set, and he told them straight, you guys have to release another one bites the dust. At first, they laughed, but Michael wasn't joking. Freddie listened. John listened. Oh, and they made the call. The song dropped in August 1980, and it exploded. It hit #1 in the US, stayed on the Billboard Hot 100 for 31 weeks, and sold over 7 million copies. It became Queen's biggest American hit ever, and it crossed over big time.
Yes, it was taken up by a particular DJ in New York, wasn't it? And they put out a special, their own edit of it, I believe, on their radio station, and it just caught fire like a brush fire across the States. And obviously amongst the black community rather than the white community, which was a rarity.
The song got played on black radio stations, in disco clubs, funk venues.
And I believe, I mean, it's kind of hearsay from my point of view, but apparently most of those black DJs who were playing it thought that we were a black group, thought that Freddie was black in the early days, and then it was kind of too late.
Some people thought the singer was black. They didn't know Queen yet, but they knew that groove.
I remember we were doing a run at Madison Square Garden at the time, and I remember being in the car in New York, and some of the there's some young black guys there, and they were going, "You guys are bad." And I thought, oh, do they like us or not? You know.
There's even one more unexpected legacy. The final tempo of the song, 110 beats per minute. That's the exact rhythm used for CPR chest compressions. These days, some instructors use another one bites the dust to teach people how to save lives. Kind of ironic, but unforgettable. Queen tried to chase that sound again on their Hot Space album. It didn't go well. Fans weren't ready for a full funk record, but another one bites the dust?
It's not totally new because it started off by John writing Another One Bites the Dust, which was on the previous album, and I think since then we sort of decided that we'd sort of carry on that kind of sound. It's basically sort of me. I mean, it doesn't really travel through the group that way. It's sort of, we have individual approaches, really. I sort of opted out for that kind of sound.
That one still stands. It was a risk. It was weird. It broke all the rules. But because of one quiet genius and one superstar who believed in it, Queen made a song that will never die. If you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button, because sometimes the biggest hits come from the quietest voices.